Welcome back to the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft Podcast. My name's Chris Spear, and I'm going to be your guide to enjoying the great outdoors. So, there's a couple things that I want to discuss today. I had to move all the YouTube videos of this podcast to its own platform. So, it's got its own YouTube channel now called The Primitive Camper, and it's no longer going to be on the Spear Outdoors page, so I kind of separated the two. And there's a reason why. It all has to do with analytics and, numbers and views and view counts and, all that stuff that happens in the background that a lot of people don't really understand when it comes to YouTubes and videos and social media stuff. And a lot of that drives how you perform, what kind of videos you make, and the such. So what I'm doing is I'm separating the two. The videos will be found in the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft group on Facebook, and it'll be found on the YouTube page, The Primitive Camper. And I'll leave links. I'll change the links into the podcast if you're listening to the podcast on a podcasting platform. Now, I want to start today off by, I've had a weekend. I have really had a weekend. I don't know how y'all have. I've just had a time. So I found a new way. The filet mignon went on sale, and you get a large size filet for like $50, 45 or $50. And so I bought one, and I cut it up real thick, about 1.5 to 2 inches. And, I brought it to the house, and I was going to cook it following a recipe that we saw on TikTok or FaceTube or whatever. And, this recipe is pretty cool. You put a little bit of grease, about 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch of grease or oil in a skillet. And so I decided I was going to do that. And this is very, it's very timely because we're talking about cooking today, and I'm giving you my cooking experience over the weekend. So I decided I was going to cook these steaks, and I turned the grease on outside, and I got an outdoor kitchen on the back porch type deal. And I had a single burner, like a fryer or like a stove, propane stove outside. And I had a 14 inch cast iron skillet, and it had about maybe 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch of grease or oil in it. And I turned it on to heat the grease up, and I turned around and went back inside. And when I did that, I was salting and peppering the steak. I was just putting rock salt and pepper on it, and our Himalayan salt and pepper on it. And my wife called, and so I answered the phone, and I was talking to Nicole about it. What we're doing, blah, blah, blah. And I had some shrimp in the sink, and I was like, well, I'll peel these shrimp, and I'll go cook those on some garlic. And so I'm sitting there, Nicole and I are talking for, a long time. And I just hang up. She was on her way home from work and everything. And I was like, all right, that's great. I'll have dinner done for you whenever you get here. And I turned around and looked, and the whole outside of my porch was glowing orange, like fire, glowing orange. And I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh. So I run out there, and the flames was all the way up to the vinyl siding on the back porch. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's fixing to catch fire. It's going to catch fire in the attic, and it's just going to spread to the whole house. So without doing anything, it was just flames. It was 8 feet of flames. And I'm sitting there thinking like, oh Lord, what do I do? So quickly, instead of reaching down and turning the propane bottle off and then putting a lid on top of the skillet and just extinguishing the flame that way, I grabbed the whole thing and threw it out into the yard. That way it couldn't catch the house on fire. And it had been raining a little bit, so the grass wasn't going to burn and all that. Well, whenever I did that, everything flipped and the grease fire immediately went out, but the propane bottle landed on top of the burner, and the burner was just on fire. Boy, let me tell you, you talk about freak out. I was like, oh my God, we're fixing to have a remodeled back porch because this thing's going to blow up. I'm like, oh man. So I run to the side of the house to grab the water hose, and I disconnected that hose and hooked up a automatic dog water feeding bowl, so whenever it goes low, it automatically fills back up. So I was like, that's right, hose is on the other side of the house. So I run on the other side of the house. Didn't have the lights on outside, and it was dark. I couldn't see squat, and I'm already almost blind. And my phone was in the house in the kitchen where I was just talking to Nicole. And I was just like, man, this is horrible. This is horrible. So I felt defeated. At that point, I was like, Lord, what do I do? And that propane tank's fixing to blow up at any time. So what I did is I just walked back into the kitchen. I grabbed my phone, walked out the front door, and I called 911. I said, hey, there was a fire, and I kind of extinguished the fire, but the propane bottle is still going. And I didn't want to get near the propane bottle because I've seen instances where propane bottles have blown up and, stuff like that. And it's a huge bomb, basically. And so I waited on the fire department to show up. And whenever they got there, they said, hey, you got a water hose? And I was like, you would ask that. So I went around the house and I got the water hose. I hooked it up and they sat there. Now, mind you, by the time they got there, it's been 15 minutes that this propane bottle was on the burner, and the burner had active flames just to cook in that bottle. I mean, it's a wonder it did not explode. I could not believe it. Well, they just took that water hose and they put the water hose on the bottle itself to cool the bottle down. And then finally the flames went out, and I was like, check this out. This is crazy. And so they just sat there and they cooled the water bottle down, or the propane bottle down. And then I couldn't understand why it didn't blow up. And then, so once they got everything out, disconnected everything, because the bottle had heated up, it had started to leak gas around the seals. And I was like, this does not make sense. I do not understand why this bottle did not explode. And I mean, it was a propane bomb is what it was. It melted out there was a piece of plastic valve in there. It melted out. It melted the hose where it was coming out. It melted everything on this thing. Where the regulator goes. And I'm just like, there's no possible way this thing didn't explode. God had his hands on the situation. So, that was my experience in cooking this weekend. So, but anyway, today's episode is all about cooking, and we're 10 minutes into it, and that was my story for this weekend. So, cooking is and has always been one of my favorite things to do in the woods. I love cooking. Anytime me and friends go camping, or me and my brothers go, or whatever, I'm always cooking. And that's because cooking is just so relaxing to me. I love cooking. Cooking is a great way to hone your skills, and it brings joy to the end of your day. It really does. It's a way to unwind. And after all your hard labor of doing whatever it is that you're doing, it's an easy way to relax and enjoy the fruits of your labor, And so I love doing the cooking thing. So, if you're following along in the book, we're on page 216. The hardest part of cooking outdoors, whether you're frying or roasting, is assuring that your food is cooked to a safe temperature. A lot of people, whenever they're cooking outdoors, they don't have the access to the meat thermometers and, stuff like that. So a lot of people overcook their food when they're outside, to be safe. Now, when you get into beef steaks and stuff like that, you don't have to be as strenuous as you do, let's say, a bird, any kind of fowl, poultry, or anything like that. And because, once you start getting into birds, you can get salmonella real quick, like in a hurry. Most campers will not have a food thermometer, and, they leave it up to guesswork. And that's so true, because you got to cook your food to temperature in order to ensure that you're not going to get sick. So I list a bunch of cooking temperatures in the book. If you want to be extra cautious, a food thermometer is not that heavy, and I'm not going to bring one. I'll be honest with you. I'm really not going to do it. But, beef, pork, veal, lamb chops, and stuff like that, you cook to 145. Ground meats, you want to cook to 160. Ground poultries, 165. Hams, fresh or smoked, you want to cook them up to 145. And all these are Fahrenheit. Fully cooked ham, you want to come all the way up to 165. All poultry, that's the breast, the whole bird, the legs, thighs, wings, ground poultry, the giblets, or whatever you want to call it, and stuffing is 165. Eggs, you want to cook those to 160. Fish and shellfish, 145. Frogs and snakes, 145. Now we've talked about this before, and we've gone over it. And there's a lot of different ways to cook. And so what I want to do is I want to slow my roll, and I want to really talk about what's in this book for a while. And this ain't going to be the longest episode in the world, but, you can set out 2 logs or some rocks, and you can use that to set your frying pans or a grill or some sort or something like that on, and that will keep it, scrape coals and everything underneath there. You don't really want to cook on open flames. You want to cook on the coals. The coals is where the heat is how you help control what temperature you're cooking at, So when you're using the logs, you put one on each side of the fire and put your whatever on top, and like your skillet, your pot, your bush pot, your Dutch oven, whatever. And that's going to be raised up to where you can do whatever with the coals underneath it. You can scrape as many coals under there as you want. But a lot of people use open coals, man. And I watch this a lot. Like, you ever watch the Outdoor Boys? What's his name? Luke, I think it is. I watched him throw some stuff right on open coals the other day. A lot of people take some kind of like a steak. They'll take steaks, and they'll take the steak, and they'll just flip that dude out there on the coals. And I've never been one to do that because I don't like chewing grit, but it don't matter. And, you got to understand, this ain't a survival situation. This is primitive camping. When I go into the woods, I'm camping. I'm not just surviving. I'm camping. I'm enjoying myself. I'm not going to eat grit if I ain't got to. But a lot of people do, and a lot of people do it for show, and a lot of people like that, and a lot of people watch it. That's their release, and they get the chance to really just let go of life by watching somebody else go through survival type situations in the woods. There's some people out there that are pretty good at it. There's some people out there that's like, wow, how in the heck does people watch this content, but it happens. So people cook stuff on open coals all the time. And open coals is not a bad idea. It can be done. You can char the outside of your food, but the inside of it essentially you're searing it where all the juices is in the inside. Open coals, you use that for baked potatoes. Open coals, you can do that. You can use a stick or something to make a pot crane, or to make some kind of something to hold your bird up or your food up above the coals to get cooked. So now, as we discussed in the water and gear sections, one of the most important or essential items you can carry with you in the woods is going to be a metal container. And I've harped on that since the beginning, since I started all this. Always have a metal container with you when you go into the woods. Now, I want to show you something. If you're watching the video right now, I've stumbled across these. These are aluminum cups. They look just like your Solo cups, but they're made out of aluminum. And I was doing some stuff with the boys at a mentor, and I was looking for a cup because we were building survival kits. And ultimately, I chose not to go with these because they are a little bit lighter weight. But I'll be honest with you, I think that this cup right here has a use in the woods. One, it's a metal container. Two, it's a lightweight. It's lighter. It's lighter than stainless steel or aluminum pot, but it's heavier than a Coke can, beer can, stuff like that. It's way heavier. And, I want to do a video on how well you can boil water in these aluminum cups. And the reason why I want to do that is I want to test the durability of them. So you get 10 of them for like $5, something like that. And these things last great. And you throw them right back. It says not for dishwasher, but I throw mine in a dishwasher all the time. I don't know why it says no dishwasher. Maybe I'm killing myself in the long run by doing that. I don't know. Who knows? But as we discussed, earlier, there's all kinds of stuff. As long as you choose the best type of metal for you and your needs, don't worry about what all these people on these YouTubes and all these other platforms say. Go with what you want. Go with what you want or what will work for you. And, packing pots and pans for your camping trip usually will pay dividends for, your camp, or your kitchen. But here's one of the downsides to packing all this camping gear is that it's heavy. So if you're hiking in to where you're going, it's heavy. If you're boating in, or if you have some sort of ATV or OTV or something like that, a conveyance of some sort, even a horse, then it's not that bad. You still want to, like a horse, you still want to watch what you weigh, how much you weigh and bring it in with you. But so that gets to titanium. We've discussed this over and over and over in this book, that titanium pots are incredibly lightweight and they come in various sizes. Titanium is usually used for smaller cookware such as cups and lightweight pots, and is ideal for boiling water and reconstituting freeze-dried foods. Cooking in titanium can quickly burn your food because the metal gets hotter in certain spots, and these are called hot spots. And so, titanium tends to get hot, real hot. Then you got aluminum. So, from cups to 24-quart pots or bigger, aluminum is a lightweight option that has been a real big go-to for camping. I got so many options when it comes to aluminum. And it's just crazy because, a lot of people will be like, oh, no, don't use the aluminum. It causes the Alzheimer's, But, people's been cooking in aluminum for years. And who knows if that's what's causing it, what it's not causing it. They really don't know. They can't give you a definitive answer about it, but so it's just, there's no telling, just keep strolling. But, aluminum is something that a lot of people use. I've used aluminum for a long time. I have a hard anodized aluminum Dutch oven that is right down here somewhere. And I'm telling you, man, I have used that thing so many times that it's I can't even count how many times. Beyond that, you got stainless steel. Stainless steel to me, is the best choice whenever you're doing durability and weight to durability. I guess that's the word I should use. So weight and durability wise, that is stainless steel is going to be the best way, because stainless is going to last you the longest, and it's also reliable. Boy, I got some indigestion or something. Then you got cast iron, and cast iron is going to be cast iron is the absolute best way to go if you can do it. Now, cast iron also, a 2-quart pot weighs 7 pounds. It keeps multiplying from there. So if you got 2 quarts, a gallon pot's 14 pounds, so just keep adding it up. Then from the cast iron, you got enamelware, and that's porcelain coated. Enamelware is porcelain coated steel or metal, and enamelware pots have many advantages, but they don't have as many hot spots as titanium and aluminum, and they are more stick free than stainless steel, and they're lighter than cast iron. But enamelware does have a flaw when it's used with camp settings, such as open fires. They tend to crack, and they can crack due to the extreme temperatures of the campfire, and your food becomes contaminated with the cracks in there. So you don't want to use the enamelware. Now, you've seen the enamelware plates, and a lot of people, like if you go to Academy Sports, you go to Academy and you go back there, the plates they have are for camping are enamel plates. Sportsman's Warehouse has enamel plates. The Bass Pro Shops or Cabela's, they have, enamel plates. So there's all kinds of options out there, but enamelware is not the most viable. What I really like to do is go back to the stainless steel. Stainless steel is very prevalent in the camping world. There are several name brand 10-inch skillets, and these skillets have been used forever. And I've used mine, a little 10-inch, little folding skillet. It's a Pathfinder skillet, I believe. Stainless steel is much heavier than titanium or aluminum, but it's durable and dependable, making it perfect for use in the woods. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that, stainless steel is a little heavier, but it is the most reliable. It's the best one that I found to use. If I have a boat or an ATV of some sort, and I'm going camping via a conveyance, I will have a cast iron. I love cast iron, or not even the cast iron, but then they have the what's that other option from the cast iron? Oh well. It's like cast iron. It's pressed though, and it's oh Lord, what's the name of it? I can't think of it now. Yeah, we got a picture of it right here on page 220. But complete with the dirty spot, But anyway, these skillets are amazing at cooking, but they're heavy, and they take up a lot of room. So, but these items, pots and pans and stuff like that, logs and rocks, and open coals and all that stuff is an option that you can use when you get out into the woods. There's no right, there's no wrong. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's just an end result. What do you need to get the end result that you want? That's it. That's the ultimate goal to doing all this. How are you going to cook your mushroom? If you need to cook your mushroom, that's simple. That's simple. So, but anyway, I told you guys that today was going to be a real quick one. And then next time we'll get into camp stoves and stuff like that. Start talking about different ways to cook your foods and getting your food all cooked and how to do it. So I thank you for joining me. Hey, if you don't mind, swing by, pick up a copy of the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft book on Amazon. It's $14.40. It's been there for a long time. The cover price is $19.99. So if you swing by and pick you up a copy, you can also use the link here and pick you up a bag or some pods of the Primitive Camping and Bushcraft blend coffee. I mean, that stuff is very good. I've got a lot of folks that are starting to really give feedback on this stuff. And we got an event next week where we're going to be dishing some of this stuff out to people, and it's going to be good times, man. It's going to be good times. So I got other things in the works, but hey, I thank you so much for your time. I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to me blab on about, primitive camping and bushcraft. So thank you. I'll see you in the next video or the next video. I jumbled that one all up. Now let me start over. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I'll see you in the next video or the next podcast. God bless you. Yeah, that was much better.